He is working at the BMW Group Middle East, and he will speak to us about the adoption of blockchain within a corporate environment. And please welcome on the stage Dr. Hamid Haqparwar. Sorry if I mispronounced that. The stage is yours. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I think, one second. Close my jacket. There you go. So, welcome, everyone, also to this session. I'm happy to be here. I'm Hamid Haqparwar. I'm the Managing Director of BMW Group Middle East. Now, one might say and think, why am I here? Because so far we had a lot of crypto companies, blockchain startups, finance companies, and the big fours here. But I think when we talk about adoption, I think it's very well noticeable if companies outside of this area also speak and talk about adoption in their field. And we had the panel here in front of us, or before me, talking about education, talking about awareness. And maybe I can shed some light into what we have done at BMW Middle East in order to adopt towards blockchain. And believe me, it was not easy. If I may go to the next slide. So first of all, a disclaimer. I'm not a coder. I'm not in blockchain in general. I started trading or acquiring Bitcoin and Ethereum maybe 2 years ago, so not in the years before. But I'm trying to have a look at it from a user case, from the user, from the consumer point of view, because if you have proper use cases in the world, then I think also more and more companies and individuals will adopt towards that. And I start with just defining what adoption is. And actually, it is the act of accepting, embracing, and or basically the best and the most important one is start using something and an idea, behavior, characteristic, or principle. So if you do not accept, if you do not embrace, if you do not feel comfortable in adopting things, and if you do not start using it, and that's the ultimate decision, then I think it's not per se adoption. And it can create, or it can start from top down in a company, where the top management tells you, you have to adopt. Or it comes bottom up, where people say, actually, there are things changing around and we need to adopt and we need to start using something else that we've done before. That is still on an individual level. If you go now onto an organizational level, I might just change it a little bit. So before I accept things, I need to make myself aware that there is something out. I need to be educated in it. Most of the people in that area are self-taught, I have to say, but more and more people are understanding and getting more aware about blockchain. If I want to embrace something, I need to look into, from an organizational perspective, about the risk. That's key and crucial towards adopting, embracing, and feeling comfortable of innovation and letting them enter into the organization. And last but not least is about starting to use. So I, as a company, need to see a value in that. And there's one single KPI that each and every company is identifying as value, and I will come to that a little bit later, because without that value, it doesn't make sense. Let's talk a little bit about awareness. And for that, let me go into the Middle East. So this is where I am from. So this is basically almost the view out of my office. Look at the Museum of the Future. But why I'm saying that is just because Dubai has been seen as, I would say, in the forefront of adopting to a lot of new things, and lately metaverse, blockchain, and so on and so forth. And I might give you some insights into that, as in why we are doing that over there. So first and foremost, there's a lot of people trusting, are interested, and use on crypto in the Middle East, especially in the UAE. I don't know if you can see it, but the bars that you see there, or the frame around the bar, this is the UAE. So in the UAE, we are the third highest country ranked in terms of usage of cryptocurrency. We trust crypto. Maybe it's a sign that we don't trust the banking system over there. So we trust more the crypto system over there because it's really decentralized, and the local interest is very high also in our region. But if you look in the bottom left, and it's a study, it's not my words, but it seems to be that age is a decreasing factor for trusting, accepting Bitcoin or crypto per se. Yeah, so the younger you are, the more inclined you are towards it. We are a young nation, a young country with a young population. Hence, maybe also the adoption is quite fast in the Middle East and in the UAE. Dubai wants to be the first city fully powered by blockchain. So there is a clear mandate, a clear rule from the government, from the rulers over there in order to really have the direction in order to transform the economy into a knowledge-based economy, and that they have identified blockchain as one of the key elements. That means the government entities are asked by law to look into blockchain. So to look into efficiencies that they can utilize from using blockchain in their areas. They want to create new industries. Right now, this is the metaverse strategy. I think there are roughly $500 million economy in Dubai, in the metaverse. They want to increase it to 4 billion. They want to create 40,000 jobs in the metaverse. I don't know how you're going to create jobs in the metaverse, but we will see. But at the end, this is a direction that the government is going. And in the region where we are there, I'm based in Dubai, it mentions, or it says actually, that if the government goes into the direction, private companies will follow. And that is the reason why I'm also standing here, is also to show you that there is the right ingredients there. The government, the customer base is there, the legal framework is there in order to really adopt blockchain activities and projects into organizations. Let's talk a little bit about risk. I mean, this is also a core factor for organization. How do I feel as a corporation comfortable to adopt to new things? It depends on the risk. You know, maybe some of you know the TARA framework. I mean, the risk, you scale it between probability and impact. Usually, you want to be in this area, low impact, low probability. If there is risk, okay, perfect, I'll accept it. I'll go ahead and implement that project. There are also other areas where I would like to reduce my risk and my risk exposure, so I don't have so many projects, but I still try and go there in order to really implement the projects that I have over there. If I'm in that quadrant, I like to transfer the risk, so I buy insurances, or I have contracts that allow maybe the other party to take over the risk. But what I do not want to have is I want to be in that one, in that quadrant where I have a high probability and a high impact. And the panel just mentioned it before. If I look into the media landscape that we have seen in the last 12 to 18 months, this is it. So we see a lot of failed projects. We see a lot of hype, NFTs around it. If I, as a company, CEO or let's say a leading position in a company, look at that, the first thing that I'm saying is, okay, I'm not entering that field. It's too risky. So we need to find ways in order to get away from the noise, to get away from the circus, and really look into the technology behind, which is blockchain. And unfortunately, with all the noise around, the true technology of blockchain gets diluted in the essence of it, what can actually truly do in supporting and helping not only individuals, but also companies. So in general, if I look into the last part of it, is volatility is also a key criteria for not doing things. So I've been told that airline tickets will be in the future maybe bought by through blockchain, through crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even cars. I would disagree. Why? Because it's too volatile. I cannot purchase a ticket or a car today, receive money, and then on the next day, my account is 8% less than the day before in terms of value. I mean, I personally see it very, very difficult and critical to use crypto in terms of making payments per se. But again, I'm not the expert here, but certainly from an organizational perspective, I think this will be the last evolution step in terms of adoptions. Quite volatile, and volatility is actually the enemy of any business. So what we need to do, and I'll come to that a little bit later as well, as an organization, we need to adopt to low-risk projects faster, And obviously, projects that are closer to the core of the business are being adopted faster than that are far off. I mean, for example, as a BMW, I might have to do things that are closer to manufacturing, selling, and marketing cars than buying cryptos that are not of interest. Last but not least, I mentioned value. There's one single KPI that is relevant for each and every company to adopt things. It's profitability. If you do not make money out of it, why adopt it? That's very simple. Unfortunately, it is true for corporations that you need to have some kind of a value behind it. The value needs to be monetary, which means either I need to make money now or in the future, or I need to be more efficient, I need to save money now or in the future, or also for bigger companies like ours, it needs to also have a brand value if it doesn't have a monetary value. Yeah? So I cannot, let's say, collaborate with a project that might be not there and not available in the next 12 months and attach my brand towards it. So it's very, very critical for let's say, companies that are not close to the blockchain world, if they would like to adopt. Do I make money out of it? Yes or no? If yes, okay, perfect. Let's have a look at it. Yeah? And hopefully low risk and low volatility. So how can blockchain create value for the automotive industry? And I'll come to let's say, the big trends that we see in the automotive. These are the top 10 trends in the automotive sector. And one of them is blockchain, one of 10 here. But certainly, I think this is something that is at a nascent status right now, but is getting more and more involved, and more automotive companies, including BMW, are looking into blockchain. And if you just dissect it into the three elements, into sourcing, production, and the usage of vehicles, you can see there are many projects and activities out there where we have supplier and OEM relationships on the blockchain, where we can really track raw materials from the source until to really, the final assembly into the car. In the production line, we have, using blockchain for transparency in the manufacturing, for quality control. But my usage and my use case that I want to show now here, what we are right now doing in the Middle East for BMW is on the usage part, and that is the vehicle passport. And I think that is something that also was mentioned in the panel before. There needs to be a real-world problem for our customers that blockchain can solve. And if we have that, then I think adoption happens much sooner than later. And this is what I would like to address in the last couple of minutes of the presentation is everybody knows, everybody hopefully drives or owns a car, hopefully BMW. But there's a point where you might sell it. So you go into the used car market, or if there's a point where you might purchase a car in the used car market. So what happens is you look into the internet, you want a beautiful BMW. Usually what you do, you go to the websites and you just look into all these websites that are there in order to purchase a vehicle. What's the problem here? It's information. Do you know if the mileage is correct? Do you know if the car has accidents? Do you know if the service history was immutable? You don't know. But you go by the risk. You have Niederlassungs, maybe you trust them more. Then you have authorized dealers, and then the last person that you might be looking at is a private seller that you want to purchase a vehicle from. And that is something where blockchain can help, and this is something where we are looking right now from a Middle East perspective, is if you would like to purchase a vehicle, why don't we issue a vehicle passport on the blockchain where all this information are stored from the manufacturer, from the authorized dealers, where via machine to machine, via our cars directly into the blockchain, main information are stored. We call it the vehicle passport that we're going to introduce through an NFT, a dynamic NFT. So whenever the car comes into the service, every month the mileage will be updated. It's stored and made transparent to anyone that is looking into maybe purchasing a car. So once you are looking for a car, you look just at the vehicle passport in the blockchain, and then while doing the transfer, and while doing the discussion with any of the other parties, you have a full transparency. I mean, this is one element that is very key, that we're trying to look into it, because at the end it makes it safe, it makes it transparent and trustworthy, low risk, and maybe why not? If we link it to the Road and Transport Authority, if you sell the NFT, the underlying asset is also being sold. So maybe we can purchase and sell BMWs through purchasing and selling NFTs. That again makes sense, or more sense, than just having pictures of apes as a JPEG form. But I think these are things that we need to adopt. We need to look into it. And if we have more of those use cases that solve a real-world problem, I think we as companies and organizations can adopt very fast and very, very quick. So last slide. First of all, adoption requires top management support or even a mandate. That was the example of the government that I had. So the government has a direction. This is called primary adoption. There is a direction. Please all go ahead and do that. That's the easiest way. You need to assemble a coalition of the willing, especially in organizations that are not close to blockchain. We all have our day-to-day jobs. Adding up projects on blockchain is very, very difficult, but you have the aficionados, you have the people that are enthusiastic about blockchain in certain areas of the hierarchy of the company, and they're very much willing into helping and supporting you. Find low-risk, high-value use cases, which I just shown you with the vehicle passport. And last but not least, use cases must be close to the core business. Very simple, very pragmatic, and I think if we all agree to that, if more companies outside of the blockchain world look into that, I think we can then create and adopt faster towards blockchain than we've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamid. I loved listening to you so much. That was very interesting, and I think it's great to have the big industrials back at the Crypto Assets Conference with BMW. If you still have the 2 minutes and would like to take some questions, I'd ask the audience if they have some questions for Hamid. If so, we'd bring you a microphone. Oh, that's the case. Okay. Sorry, I missed you for a second. Here.
I have a quick question. So the latest news about BMW NFTs recording the noise of the car. What other things you are having in mind about your NFT strategies?
Very good, because this is what I did. We created a museum of sound. That was our first endeavor. Again, low risk and feeling comfortable to go into the field of NFT. What we have done is we have taken 16 of our M customers onto the racetrack. And we had them on their own cars driving on the racetrack, recorded the engine sound, digitalized it, and gave it back as an NFT. Very simple. It didn't cost us a lot. It was awareness, creating awareness, education. We've done it in Dubai. It was a huge hit, and it showed that there's a lot of interest in that field. And for us, it was the first step getting into that. I mean, it was said before, increase the amount of wallets. I mean, we created some wallets into that. We as an organization learned out of that at a low-risk project, and hence building on that, now we're coming with other elements into that.
Perfect. Thank you very much again. And please give it up one more time for Hamid Haqparwar from BMW.